4th of April 2025 it is. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to KBC Lunchtime News. Many thanks indeed for joining us. My name is Njue. Brian Muraru is my colleague on the sign language interpretation on the bottom of your screen. The president continues his Mount Kenya tour, and today he is in Embu and Chuka. As we speak, my colleague Abdiaziz is in Chuka, which is in Tharaka Nithi County. We'll be getting more in regards to that. And the IEBC commissioners vetting continues. But let's begin in Chuka, where Abdiaziz is. Good afternoon, my brother. Tell me what exactly is happening in Chuka.
Well, thank you so much and good afternoon to you too. Njue coming to you live from Chuka, Tharaka Nithi County. And of course, the president clearly stated that this morning his trip of the 4 days of his 5-day tour in the Mount Kenya region in Mbeere South, that is in Embu County, which is closer to some of the venues that he was being expected to tour, inspect and launch in Tharaka Nithi County. The president has just addressed the members of the residents of Tharaka Nithi County in Tharaka town itself, and of course flanked by Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki and a host of legislators from the region, of course led by the majority leader, that is Kimani Ichung'wah. And of course after that, the president is expected any moment from now to arrive here at Chuka town, where he is expected to launch a market as well as an affordable housing project, which the government is of course implementing under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. The president, for the better part of this morning, has addressed members of Embu as well as Tharaka Nithi, of course congratulating the Deputy President, Professor Kithure Kindiki. You do know, Ben, this is the first time the Deputy and the President have arrived together in Tharaka Nithi County together. We do know that the Deputy President was in Tharaka Nithi just a few months back, but today it is the first time the two are arriving in Tharaka Nithi County since Deputy President, that is Professor Kithure Kindiki, assumed the role of a second-in-command in the country, with the President clearly stating that once again that the government is too big. That is why he had to incorporate all the leaders, not just from this particular region, but from various parts of the country. Also, the president has had the opportunity to show the newly appointed nominee, that is the Public Service Cabinet Secretary, who is taking over from Justin Muturi, that is Geoffrey Roko, who also doubled up as the Mbeere North Member of Parliament. Given that he was a fully fledged MP, that means when IEBC is in place by October, residents of Embu will be going back to the polls to elect a new Member of Parliament in Mbeere North if and when Geoffrey Roko is appointed by Parliament, that is at the end of the day, to become the new CS for Public Service. You do know that the President was talking earlier on about Geoffrey Roko and why he appointed him to replace that is Justin Biden Muturi, and Parliament has just recently announced that on the 14th of this month, that is when they will able to assess the suitability of Geoffrey Roko. Also, aside from that, the president has reiterated his message that he talked about in Murang'a County in terms of the issuance of bursaries. You do know that the governors have been, of course, at loggerheads with the control of budget. That is Dr. Margaret Nyakango, who directed the governors not to issue bursaries to the needy students in their various 47 devolved units. But aside from that, the president clearly stated yesterday that there are no children that belong to the national, the county government. They belong to the Kenyan government, all of them, with the president clearly stating that all students, no student that will be left behind during his tenure. Any moment from now, Njue, the president, will be arriving here at Chuka. Once he's done with Chuka town, he'll be heading over to Runyenjes and then concluding his 4-day trip, 4-day of his 5-day tour in the Mount Kenya region at Embu town. As and when he arrives, we'll be coming to you live. So back to you, Troy.
Thank you, Abdiaziz. Hashim, live from Chuka in Tharaka Nithi County. And later on, the president will be touring Runyenjes. And earlier on, while in my home county of Embu, the president launched the construction of the intake water treatment plant and laying of 26 kilometers of pipes at Kamburu Dam water supply project in Embu County, as you can see on your screen. And later on, he also addressed the congregants. Let's listen in.
Manyare, which is at 500 cubic meters, and then the water will distribute.
Na kazi yangu kama kiongozi wa taifa ni kuunganisha jamii zote kutoka pande zote, kutoka kaunti zote. Watu wa Kenya wakae pamoja ndio tuweze kushughulika na mambo ya maendeleo. tuondoe chuki, tuondoe ukabila, tuondoe migawanyiko, kwa sababu umoja ni nguvu. Ama namna gani jameni? Si nasemekana umoja ni nguvu? Munasema tuungane ama tutengane? Niunganishe Wakenya wote, kutoka jamii zote, kutoka pande zote, tushughulike na mambo ya maendeleo, tusomeshe watoto wetu, tushughulike na kilimo, tuunganishe stima, tujenge barabara, tuweke maji, Kenya isonge mbele. Hebu nione wala sema kazi yetu. Jameni, tumekubaliana, si ndio? Siku ya siasa itakuja. Saa hizi ni saa ya kazi. Ama namna gani? Si saa hii kila mtu ashughulike na ile kazi amepatiwa. MCA ako na kazi yake, ashughulike. Mjumbe ako na kazi yake, ashughulike. Gavana ako na yake, ashughulike. Mimi niko na yangu, nishughulike.
That is the president earlier on at Kamburu during the commissioning of a water intake plant there. And as Abdi has told us that we are expecting any moment now he'll be landing in Chuka. And as soon as he does that, of course, we'll be crossing over to Chuka in Tharaka Nithi County. But in other news, a former commissioner of the National Cohesion and Integration Commission and board member of the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, Fatuma Mohammed, has told the IEBC selection panel that she will involve the media and back their quest for parallel vote tallying centers to enhance transparency in the 2027 general elections. He also facing the Nelson Makanda-led panel was former Technical University of Kenya Vice Chancellor Professor Francis Adwal, who was put on the spot after the university's academic staff union alleged he was involved in corruption and oppressing staff while serving at the institution.
Political party or media houses plan to set up such a parallel tallying center ahead of the next general election in 2027. How would you respond to such an attempt in order to protect the electoral integrity and maintain public confidence in the commission?
Media are part of the stakeholders. It's not people you can wish away and say they cannot do this work. So personally, what I would do is we'd have a lot of engagements with them in the process. One thing you'd say, you cannot tell them that you cannot have a parallel center, but we'd have to have it in an open and transparent manner so that the information they get is the right information.
Professor, the university's academic staff union, WASU, they are accusing that you were overbearing chief executive who oppressed staff and stifled all forms of transparency. They are saying you had zero accountability.
I think these are people who may have personal issues. Having given my energy to this institution to bring it to the level that I brought it and what I have presented before this commission, this committee, this morning, that somebody can say this. Technical University of Kenya, the way I left it, where I brought it, no. Those people cannot be fair to me.
Remember, the interviews continue until the 24th of this month in the quest to find the IEBC commissioners. In other news, the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, JKUAT, plans to introduce a master's degree program in rehabilitation science to train specialists on providing support services to those differently abled. Students were encouraged to enroll in the program to grow academically, enhance their careers, as well as help the many people with disabilities from around the world. According to the head of Rehabilitation Science Department at JKUAT, Dr. Mwangi Madheri, the program seeks to address the growing demand for specialists in physical therapy, speech therapy, and pathology, among other fields, at a time when number of persons with disabilities continue to rise. The program is a collaboration between 4 African universities and 2 European universities from Norway and Finland, and is expected to commence in September of 2026.
Recruiting qualified lecturers to train in rehabilitation courses, namely physiotherapy, occupational therapy, optometry, orthotics and prosthetics, and other allied courses. And this indeed has slowed down the process of the university having to start undergraduate courses in rehabilitation.
Some conditions need very complex care, like children with cerebral palsy. They may need more than just physiotherapy. They need occupational therapy. They may need vision or auditive rehabilitation. So these master programs will really create excellent professionals.
I can see members of the department and also the team from
8 traders have been arrested by officers from the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, in Kiombi area, Machakos County, for possessing banned plastic bags. According to Eastern Region Administrative Officer of NEMA, Patrick Lekenit, the 8 traders are in custody at Kiombi Police Station after being found with over 1,000 banned plastic bags, which were banned in the country since 2017. As the suspects await arraignment at the Mavoko law courts, Kenyans have been urged to cooperate with security agencies to provide more information about the manufacturing of counterfeit bags. The arrest follows a 2-day search operation by NEMA officers along Mombasa Road.
We have managed to arrest 8 traders who will be going to court tomorrow. Therefore, we are warning the public not to dare use those plastics, and we are requesting the public, those ones who can be able to provide information or who these distributors are where the manufacturers are. We have a hotline as NEMA. They can be able to call.
Who has been going on, but the biggest challenges has always been our porous borders. You see, critically, if you assess the supply of these plastic bags, I think 90% of them come from this porous border, Namanga, Busia, Garissa. These plastics have not been banned in the neighboring countries like Uganda, Somalia and Ethiopia. So that is the biggest reason.
Still on environmental conservation, the State Department for Correctional Services has launched a monthly tree planting and beautification campaign in all prison facilities countrywide to restore ecosystems and promote sustainable environmental practices. The initiative, which will be held every first Thursday of the month, was officially launched at the Kitengela GK prison by Correctional Services Principal Secretary Dr. Salome Biko. She emphasized the department's commitment to leading the National Landscape and Ecosystem Restoration Program, which has a target of cultivating 100 million trees annually.
Madam Pierre Salome. And so the government, through His Excellency the President, came up with a program.
This is an exercise that will be going on every month, every first Thursday of the month, with the goal of reaching His Excellency's target of 15 billion trees by the year 2032. Shall be also generating an orchard here in line with the plugging into one of the better pillars, which is food production, so that we are sustainable in growing fruits and vegetables that are healthy, so that all our officers and all our inmates embrace a healthy way of life.
Moving on, police in Suna East Sub-County, Migori County, have arrested a middle-aged woman who was transporting 204 sticks of bang of unknown value from Kakro town in Uriri, Migori. The arrest follows a tip-off from residents of Kakro town. Suna East Sub-County Police Commander Joseph Alenaigero applauded the residents for being vigilant and urged them to continue collaborating with the security agencies to curb drug trafficking in the county.
From a member of the public, they managed to arrest a drug trafficker named Caroline Atieno Odhiambo, approximate age 33 years, a Luo a Luo adult from Oruba with 2 or 4 tariffs, sticks of bang, which was en route to Uriri. So we urge the members of the public to volunteer information that will assist the arrest of the drug traffickers.
Away from that, General Police Service Unit have been deployed to Ngoliba Market following a disagreement between Kiambu County Governor Kimani Wamatangi and Area Member of Parliament Alice Wambui over the construction of Ngoliba Market. Local traders from the town are raising concerns over the tension in the market that they say has negatively impacted their businesses. They urge their leaders to resolve their differences and facilitate the market's construction. The enforcement officer in charge, however, said that the High Court order had directed police to leave the premises.
Tumekuwa biashara zetu ziko chini sana. Hatupati customer kama kawaida. Juu wakija waone vile watu wanakimbizana, unakuta hamna watu wa kuuzia.
Hii msukasuko haitusaidi kwa sababu inaharibu uchumi wetu. Na tunataka maendeleo hapa upande wowote. Lakini maendeleo hatutaki vita. Wamatangi wasikizane, watufanyie maendeleo. Hadi si akienda upande ya barabara atengeneze. Wamatangi kwa ndio atakuja upande ya soko atengeneze.
Usalama wetu uko chini, kurushwa mawe. Sasa tunataka serikali ingililie, itutetee kihaki, ndio tusikuwa tunasikia uoga.
A non-governmental organization in Timaru Sub-County, Migori County, is nurturing and economically empowering school-going children in primary schools in Kuria to fight harmful vices like female genital mutilation, FGM, teenage pregnancies, and early marriages. The program, dubbed Empower Her, recognizes the need to empower children when they are young to create a self-reliant society. The initiative has helped the school-going children to venture into pottery and horticulture to generate income to cater for their education needs and upkeep.
Through this kind of project, we hope that people, not only women and girls, but all the people in the society can empower them.
Alianza na mradi akaanza na mboga. Tukaanza na mboga. Mama nifundize kuweka mboga. Nikamfundisha kaweka hiyo mboga kauza kanunua kuku moja. Hiyo kuku meza imekuwa kuku 10. Na anauza mayai na analeta shuleni pesa zake.
Hao watoto wakiwa na hizo, hata ukiangalia wale wako kwa mradi wako na pesa yao.
Elsewhere, the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers KUPPET Nakuru chapter has faulted the recent teacher promotions by the Teacher Service Commission TSC, alleging unfair distribution. They want the promotions reviewed. Here are the details of this news, plus others in the county news briefs.
KUPPET officials Nakuru branch have expressed their reservations on the modalities in the promotion of 25,252 teachers by the Teachers Service Commission, saying that regions with higher teacher populations have been disproportionately affected in the promotions.
Kwa nini mwalimu wa job group C3 aweze kupewa acting deputy, acting principal, lakini hawezi kulipwa mshahara ambao una hadhi ambao unaweza kutosha?
Meanwhile, students have been urged to pursue science subjects to unlock better career opportunities. This was the call by Kimathi University of Technology Vice Chancellor Engineer Peter Mushiri. He said this would help them venture into technical fields.
This is coming at a time when the KUPPET portal has opened, and we want to encourage students to apply across board.
Elsewhere, police in Lukuyani Sub-County have detained a man accused of murdering his friend as the duo argued over tobacco valued at 50 shillings.
Wakati marehemu alimuona akipita karibu na kwake, akamuuliza usiku hiyo akienda matanga, akamuuliza kwa nini wewe ulichukua tumbako yangu, unipe tumbako yangu, na ndiyo jukumu yenye walifurukana mpaka wakafika akamuua.
Separately, Machakos County Assembly members have rejected an impeachment motion against the Speaker and Kiusia, terming it political witch hunt.
Mambo ya kutoa spika wa bunge kwa ofisi ni ile tunaita procedural motion, ambaye lazima kuna zile conditions lazima to satisfy.
Authorities have ordered the immediate evacuation of residents and traders near an 11-story building under construction in Kona ya Kilifi, Mvita Sub-County. The directive comes amid concerns over its structural integrity after residents expressed concerns on its stability. My colleague Ann Boro, the details of this and other stories shaping the news in the coastal region.
This was the situation at Kona ya Kilifi, Mvita Sub-County. Emergency teams cordoned off the area amid heightened security as they evacuated residents and traders in the area ahead of the demolition of the building. Speaking at the site, the Regional Commissioner Roda Onyancha disclosed they had evacuated residents living within a 100 meters radius of the building.
Tungependa pia kuwashukuru wananchi sana kwa sababu tulipowaeleza kwamba kuna shida waweze kuondoka, waliweza kutusikiza na wakaweza kuondoka.
Architect Lawrence Gitau, the National Building Inspectorate Secretary in the State Department for Public Works, confirmed the building was at risk of collapse. Further, he revealed whereas the contractor had received the green light to construct from the county government and the National Construction Authority to construct fewer floors, they had increased the number of floors which compromised its quality.
But we have documents with NCA that indicate that the building had been approved for 6 floors, but as you can see, it's 11 floors. But we are waiting for documents to see whether there was an approval for extension, and if that approval considered the structural elements that had been done earlier, that is the foundation and the columns.
Mombasa County Executive Committee member for Land and Housing Mohamed Hussein reiterated public safety remains a priority.
Nashirikiana pamoja county government na national government na other private sector. Lengo letu kuu mwanzo hapa ni kuhakikisha usalama wa wananchi. Alafu baadaye na expert tuko hapa tutafanya uchunguzi, tujadiliane, alafu tutaweza kuwapa maelezo kamili.
Meanwhile, the National Environment Management Authority embarked on a restoration initiative at Owino Uhuru village in Mikindani, Jomvuku constituency. They met residents in a matter that sparked mixed reactions.
Hiyo mchanga itasafishwa. Kuna wataalamu watafanya hiyo kazi. Nimekueleza tuko na idara za serikali. Kuna University of Nairobi ambayo itakuwa na sisi, kuna government chemists watakuwa na sisi. So hiyo yote itakuwa katika hiyo mpangilio. Kuna task force inashughulika nayo.
Tunawaonya NEMA, tumewaona. Cartels za NEMA tumewaona na tunawakujia. Hii hamtakula tukiangalia. Hamtakula tukiangalia.
Ile uwazi ndio tumekosa na hiyo imani kidogo imepungua kwa upande wa mama. Tuampenda kwa sababu tumeng'ang'ana naye, lakini kuna uwazi fulani ambao hatupi. Ndiposa tunashukuru kwamba NEMA waje wafanye jukumu ambalo wamepewa na koti, wamalize ndio Owino Uhuru ifunguke.
Tunategemea mama tupate haki yetu, na sasa hivi tunaambiwa haki yetu hakuna. Watu wa NEMA sasa ndio wanaamka, wameshelewa kwetu. Tunataka haki yetu.
For Prime Edition from Mombasa County, I am Ann Boro.
Very well, and after that comprehensive report from the sunny beaches of the coast by Ann Boro, it's time for Brian and I to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with more news, not forgetting the latest from the world of business, and also the latest from Chelsea and Tottenham, match that was played last night.
I'm not here for my glory, fame, or praise, but to tell of the one who just defeated the grave.
Tao mbao mbao, beba wewe, tao mbao mbao.
Yeah, mbao mbao tao, mbao mbao tao. Tumekama hapa kuongelea fundi wa mbao. Wow. Sing a new song unto the Lord in the presence of his congregation. And I believe God amenipatia gift ya write music, and not just music but biblical sound, lyrical theology yenye iko relevant kwa generation yetu.
I tell you, the power of the cross is enough to save this generation.
The world of governance is vast and can be alien to the ordinary man on the street.
Critical issues are going to be discussed.
From white papers to policy positions, it is easier to get lost in the labyrinth of words.
Inside Government takes you to key global metropolis where critical decisions are made and where policies are crafted.
We interview policymakers and senior government officials to highlight and enumerate government policies and projects. We take a deep dive into the underbelly of complex red tape to demystify policies across the country, across the world. Join me, O'Brien Kimani, on Inside Government, only on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back to KBC Lunchtime News. Moving on, authorities have launched investigations to determine the primary cause of an accident that occurred along the Maimahiu-Longonot Road on Saturday last week, where 7 members of a family lost their lives. While condoling with the bereaved, the National Assembly Minority Whip, Sylvanus Osoro, confirmed that the government will cover funeral expenses to relieve the family's financial burden. Limuru Member of Parliament John Kirago said plans are underway to expand the Rironi-Mau Summit Road and the Northern Corridor to dual carriage to curb road carnage.
Uchunguzi ufanywe kabisa, ijulikane ni nini ilifanyika, ndio haki iweze kupatikana kwa hii familia.
Upande wa eneo la Nakuru ama Naivasha wataweza kuangalia na kufanya uchunguzi waone ni kipi kilichotokea katika ajali hiyo, ili familia iweze kupata faraja kabisa na waweze kupata haki.
We also support that lady who lost the child.
It's actually at this point that we seek an extension of such roads that are massive, like the road towards Nakuru, the road towards Eldoret, and even the road towards the other parts of the country, so that we have dual carriages that will limit such.
Time to do business. The Kenya private sector is showing signs of renewed confidence, with business activity and demand growing at the fastest rate in 10 months in March 2025. The latest Stanbic Bank Kenya Purchasing Managers Index PMI reveals a solid increase in new orders, indicating resilience of the economy despite ongoing inflationary pressures.
The latest Stanbic Bank Kenya Purchasing Managers Index for March 2025 was a reading of 51.7 from a reading of 50.6 in February 2025, marking its highest level since May 2024. A Purchasing Managers Index reading above 50 signals business improvement, with the latest data showing a boost in sales and output. Christopher Legalisho, an economist, Standard Bank, says the March PMI shows a private sector experiencing faster growth in output and new orders, supported by increased customers, good weather, and sustained marketing efforts. However, some firms still struggled with weaker consumer demand, cash flow pressures, with 98% of surveyed businesses reporting that hiring new employees remains slow or stagnant. While services, wholesale and retail sectors saw strong growth, the manufacturing sector lagged, experiencing fresh contractions in production and new orders. Despite this, businesses increased purchases of inputs, with the rate of growth being the fastest in 2.5 years. The report shows inflationary pressures remain subdued, with only a moderate increase in selling prices, while agricultural and construction sectors faced rising input costs. Manufacturing input costs declined, helping to contain output price inflation. Despite this, business confidence remains cautious, with firms uncertain about future output, with some businesses planning to expand. Wari Mujenga for Lunchtime News.
And retailers are calling on the government to streamline taxation to support the sector that is among one of the country's biggest economic drivers. Speaking at the opening of the inaugural Retail Summit, Retail Trade Association of Kenya CEO Wambui Mbarire is also calling on the national government to harmonize levies and fees charged by county governments. The inaugural 2025 Retailers Summit explored strategies for growth, including emerging markets, trends, innovation, opportunities, and challenges.
Actually, our cry to government is just one: the cost of doing business. If we can work on the cost of doing business, I think we will not only promote local developments, but we will also grow agriculture and manufacturing. I keep saying I do not think a country can grow on a strong agriculture and a strong manufacturing if it doesn't have a strong retail.
If government could come together and really simplify the licenses, create a greater level of unification, such that we're able to get a single business permit which covers everything.
Savings and credit cooperatives or SACCOs should leverage technology to optimize back-end processes such as loan approvals, risk assessments, and transaction processing. Edward Modibo, who is an advisor in the State Department of Cooperatives, said technology is key in enhancing risk management frameworks through use of data analytics and artificial intelligence, AI, to predict and mitigate financial risks.
Team DT SACCO must leverage financial technology to enhance operational efficiency, expand financial access, and improve service delivery.
We do think that the game changer moving forward, and AI is in everything. We're already using it on a day-to-day basis. But we think that if you think about the aspect of automation of our loan portfolio, how we do our loan appraisals, how we give loans, why do you have to come to a branch and physically, get a guarantor and then put pen to paper when you can be able to do this on an online platform? So a lot of investment is actually going to go into that. We're spending more than 500 million shillings in terms of just capital infrastructure.
Moving on, NCBA and Africa Guarantee Fund have earmarked 3 billion shillings to support small and medium enterprises in the energy and agricultural sector. NCBA Managing Director John Gashora says the initiative will increase the financial institutions' guaranteed limit and offer more flexible and long-term financial support. The deal seeks to promote sustainability, through targeted mentorship and skill-building programs for women and youth, fostering diversity and diligence.
The aim is to use this guarantee to support SMEs, primarily towards women and the youth. Besides that, we are partnered with places like Strathmore University, where we're able to offer a lot of training to SMEs and MSMEs in terms of bookkeeping, in terms of use of finance, in terms of growth opportunities, markets.
What we'll do is mainly to work together with the SMEs through technical assistance to make them loan ready. Because, sometimes the bank is willing to support those SMEs, but they are not bankable. And what is new on this program is the technical assistance that will be working together with NCBA to develop a pipeline of loan-ready SMEs.
Further afield, the global sales of U.S. electric car maker Tesla has reduced 13% during the first 3 months of this year, the worst since 2022, as demand for the company's electric cars continues to weaken. Tesla says it delivered 337,000 vehicles globally from January to March this year. This is down about 50,000 vehicles in the same period just 1 year ago, representing a fall of about 13%.
The decline in sale of Tesla vehicles comes despite big discounts, zero financing and other incentives. European markets have continued a downward trend for Tesla sales as new registrations in France dropped 37% and in Sweden 64%. In China, Tesla appears to be losing momentum too, as sales in March there were down 11.5% from a year ago. This is due to fierce competition with Chinese electric vehicle brands like BYD and Geely, which both reported a surge in sales last month from the same period of 2024. Tesla said the changeover of Model Y lines across its factories led to the loss of several weeks of production. Meanwhile, all 25 bakeries in Gaza Strip have been forced to close due to a lack of flour and the unavailability of cooking gas amid ongoing Israeli blockade. The Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs said the suspension of aid entry into Gaza continues with a devastating impact on people in need. The 25 bakeries supported by the World Food Programme have been vital in mitigating the food crisis, which has persisted during the conflict in Gaza for over 18 months. Israeli authorities closed crossings with Gaza in early March and has since prevented the entry of humanitarian aid. Meanwhile, wine companies in Italy are anxious as US President Donald Trump signed an executive order on reciprocal tariffs, imposing a 20% tariff on the European Union. Wine companies in Italy face uncertainty for the upcoming wine sales season following the announcement of tariffs on EU products including wine. The United States is a key market for Italian wines, with the exports valued at about 2 billion euros in 2024 alone. The tariff hike by President Trump has put this vital export market at risk. According to the Italian Confederation of Farmers, if tariffs prevent Italian wines from being exported to the United States, Italian wineries could face daily losses of $6 million US.
Time for the sports. We begin with soccer, where the national women's soccer team Harambee Starlets is set to face host Ivory Coast in their first of the back-to-back internationals Saturday morning in Abidjan. The match is set to kick off at about 1 a.m. East African time. The second encounter is set to be played 4 days later. Head coach Beldine Odemba named 23-member traveling squad that includes regulars Mwana Halima Adam, Corazon Aquino, Getrix Shikangwa, goalkeepers Lilian Awor and Anedi Kundu, and defender Janet Mumo. Odemba has recalled Anne Nora, Vivian Nasaka, Lucy Kwekwe, and Faith Mboya. Nasaka, who was initially called up for the Tunisia clash, missed out due to an injury sustained at her Turkish club Hakanigu Kaspor. Meanwhile, Mboya, who didn't make the final squad in Tunisia, is in line for her first cap. However, Harambee Starlets will be without captain Dorcas Shukombe, who suffered an injury while playing for her Greek team Sirens of Greneva. The team will use the friendly to prepare for the forthcoming 2026 Africa Women Cup of Nations qualifiers against Gambia in October. Finally, Chelsea moved to fourth place in the English Premier League table after beating Tottenham Hotspur's 1-0 at the Stamford Bridge. The result boosts Chelsea's hope of playing in Champions League next season and are now just 1 point above just 1 point above
but they were frustrated by a goalless first half, having missed plenty of opportunities. Moise Caicedo swept a crisp. Matesar fired in from 20 yards out. The result moves Chelsea to 4th in the Premier League, knocking reigning champions.
Very well, that's sports, and apologies for that last-minute technical hitch, but thank you indeed so much for joining us. Interesting matches in this coming weekend, and you can trust your true sports partner, KBC Channel 1, for all the goals, the sides, the joy, and the tears as well. Thank you indeed so much for joining us. For now, we now cross over to Bunge Towers, where the vetting of the principal secretaries is currently underway. We remember before then we had the broadcast PS Stephen Isaboke, nominee, currently. Let's first of all cross over. My name is Njue, and Brian Muraru has been my colleague on the sign language interpretation.
We have such sessions. So that if you have a question like that, you present it now. But also, on the matter of conflict of interest, the chair can only rule according to existing laws. So I want to know where your line of questioning is headed, and that's why I'm keen for you to proceed so that we can place it within the parameters of existing laws. So continue. Do you have an intervention, Honorable Nyamita?
I just wanted to say, that so that we are able to make a bit of progress, and also to be fair to the candidate, is that whereas, yes, he did not write it, he admits that it is a potential area of interest and is unanswered. So it is all going to form part of our report, which is as good as him having put it in this particular paper, so that then we can actually progress to the next stage. Number two is that he acknowledges that it is resident within Jamhuri, maybe where multi-choice is. Is that so?
That's correct, through the chair.
That's fine. So I think I think he just needs to be very clear, and you go on record, that Inca FM is owned by so-and-so, who is known to me this way, and it is housed at this particular whatever, and the potential conflict of interest is this and that. Then it goes on our record as forming part of this. Then we can proceed to the next stage.
Point of information. Members, we can do this in an orderly way. The person on the floor is Honorable Gideon Kimayo. All these others are interventions. So I'll give the Honorable Momina, please. Please, is it an addendum question or? Addendum, okay. Please note this, Stephen. Please note the questions so that
just to strengthen what Honorable asked. We are having debate on whether it's conflict of interest or not. Yet, let's assume the fact that the nephew owns a radio FM called Inca is a coincidence, or is just not conflict of interest. But is it a coincidence that the same radio is premised at multi-choice? Is it a coincidence also?
I would not want this committee to venture into that. Why I wouldn't is because even the venue you're talking about, we do not know as a committee whether it is a commercial. We can.
Chair, he has confirmed that it is there.
Yes, I'm just saying the venue. We do not know whether it is a commercial premise where anybody can walk in and place their business. We do not know whether they are shared offices. We do not know. So I want you, Gideon, to own your questions.
Thank you.
Not to be guided by peripheral input. Honorable Jamatia.
I think, Honorable Chair, you've exhausted what I wanted to say, but I also said on rider on that, if the nominee is going to make the declaration, he can also put it in paper or give us a registration to show that the cousin is the owner, so that he can clear this off.
Final intervention, Honorable Vice Chair.
I want to remind you that this is a vetting process, closed examination.
for preparing you to be in this position with a clean hands.
Correct.
Don't take it personal. These members want want to get every bit of information to come out clearly. Correct. For you now, in the next step, you are a clear man if you are appointed.
Correct.
All right?
I'm getting Chair. Now,
at the very final, I request for a different view.
You want an intervention?
Yes. In a minute.
No, hold on. Please let me structure these interventions. The Honorable Gideon Kimayo is on the floor. He has posed questions. So are you coming to inform the question? Are you coming on a point of order? Are you coming on a point of procedure? How are you coming in, Honorable Daktari?
I would coin my point on advice. So let me say this. From the introduction...
On which standing order, point of advice?
Relax, Chair. From the introduction, you know, in the vetting process, there are also learning moments. From the nominee's introduction, he was very clear that he only was brought up and saw the mother after 13 years. Which means for the nominee to reach where he has reached, he must have been mentored by others. He must have been held hands by someone to reach where he has reached. And therefore, on my side, having the nephew owning that premise, probably there's a relationship because he has held positions in GoTV, MultiChoice, worked for various people. I would want to assume, working on assumption, that probably he held the hands of the nephew. To me, there is no crime in that. But my concern, the nominee ought not to have put it as an oversight in declaring. And we are not fixing you because what you did is right. Otherwise, then we shall just be growing without holding hands of people, then it bears no purpose of us being in these positions. The same oversight was when it came to your certificates. He was talking about he has a lot of experience and knowledge and trained even up to Harvard. Did you say that? If I got it right. But then, in the submission on documents which we had, there were no attachments. But he had the original file which was stating that. So the lawyer had to walk around telling us this is the file. Actually said they're all here. So that was also oversight. So next time, PS, I'm praying that you get this position. I don't know whether you're going to get it, but when you get it in the event, ensure you have proper assistants who are thorough so that you present thorough things. Thank you.
Let me structure this. Honorable members, this is a process of vetting for possible approval. What this committee can do is to engage the nominee on matters regarding the evidence he presents or adduces, and he can adduce his evidence in the form that we have received in a written memoranda. We can even present it as a verbal presentation, which he is doing. And whatever evidence we get or he adduces, it is for us to weigh it against existing laws, against existing regulations, against existing legislation. So what I will want to do is prevent the committee from venturing into speculative space or hearsay space, because we are not here to prosecute either gossip or hearsay. So let me give those as the river banks along which this river should flow. Honorable Gideon Kimayo.
Thank you, Chair. I am finishing, Chair. Just to remind the nominee that you are under oath. So whatever you are telling this committee, you are under oath. So based on my questions, Chair, I want to ask the nominee, based on the issues of KBC and the issues of this other FM station, we are if we confirm you to be the PS for broadcasting and communication, don't you think that there will be possible conflict of interest now that you will be the boss of KBC? You will be the boss of Communications Authority, who is like the regulator of all the stations. How are you going to maneuver this? Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Through the Chair.
And just remember, the Parliament is said to be a quasi-judicial entity. And that's why you took an oath before we started. If you would require any documents to depend on when you're answering, I, as a chair, would request for you to be furnished with those documents. I would not want an incidence of ambush in a vetting process. So where you're able to answer within your capabilities. And to remind you again, Stephen, this is a friendly engagement.
Thank you.
This is just a vetting process. Some of us have different intonation. You might find maybe some intonation coming in a bit soft, others coming in a bit hard. We are all of different intonation. And so we understand. By the time you're appearing before us, you didn't just drop down from heaven. There must have been a process. There is a nominee, a nominating authority. PSC must have processed you to deliver you to be before this committee. So all this is understood. I wanted just to allay any fears that you may have that the process could be antagonistic. It is not. Correct. So proceed, Stephen.
Thank you, Chair Guided. Just to respond to the Honourable Member in terms of these two instances he gives, and if I am successfully nominated, like it is good with the good corporate governance, I shall declare my interest, if conflicted, and recuse myself from any further involvement in decision-making around those entities. Thank you, Chair.
Honourable Gideon Kimayo, you have the floor.
Chair, this is not a direct question to the nominee. Kenyans know and are aware that KBC is in problems. And we are the committee chair that, how can I call it? Oversight the broadcasting and communication sector. I find really difficult, Chair, that Co-TV, there are some fingerprints of Co-TV in the mess in KBC. And today, somebody who was the head of Co-TV is the same person that we want to make to add the broadcasting and communications department.
Honourable Gideon, hold on, Honourable, so that you do not even incriminate yourself. There's a place for everything, as the Bible says. This is our engagement with the nominee. In this session, you cannot even attempt at a recommendation.
Chair, I'm not giving a recommendation. I am not giving a recommendation.
And we will get to that.
I'm not, Chair.
You will have your place.
I've not given any recommendation, Chair.
An observation is part of the report.
I have evidence for what I'm saying.
Yes, Chair. But I am saying, is it a question?
We have a memoranda.
Is it a question or not?
Chair, just allow me.
I'm asking
Chair,
you a question.
Just allow me. Why don't you allow me, Chair? An observation.
Observation has its place.
Chair,
to you.
We have a memoranda, Chair, here from a committee of parliament called PIC. And in their memoranda, they are telling us, this committee, that please do not confirm the nominee. It is not my word, it's a memoranda. And Chair, in their last statement from a PIC committee headed by Honorable Wangwe, they are telling us the committee, which is of PIC, is of the view that the nominee will be suited to serve in another state department to avoid conflict of interest.
Hold on.
I know this is a document of this committee.
When I was admitting this document, I was very clear where it has come from and its import to this vetting process.
So we should not revert to it?
No. Make all reference. What you cannot do is at this point, observations have their place and the recommendations have
I'm just reading
They will come in at the right time.
Chair,
Chair,
I wanted to say...
question, I will allow you all the leadway.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
To put any question.
Chair, I think Honorable Kimayo has gone on a good questioning line. However, the letter from Honorable Wangwe to this committee was Wangwe's version, the version of their committee, which this committee is not obliged to actually go by. Let's be very clear. Number two.
That is why we are here.
That's why we are here. Number two.
The document appears to us ex parte.
Absolutely. Number two, that very document has been shared with the nominee, and the nominee has actually responded to it. So we would only question his revert to the issues, because Honorable Wangwe's or the PICS committee's recommendation here is a one-sided version. But I think for purposes of this meeting, as to how he has responded and the recommendation from PIC committee is for the committee, when we retreat, to actually now look at it on merit and decide. But we would be unfair to the candidate to cast aspersions on his suitability right here when we are still going through the vetting process. Thank you, Chair.
I'm well guided, Chair, and that is my submission. Thank you.
Do you have any other question, Honorable Gideon?
Maybe later.
You're
Thank
exhausted. Honorable Vice Chair, did you have an intervention?
No, just I wanted to say exactly what Nyamita is saying. To stamp with the authorities that the recommendation of another committee cannot be the conclusion of this committee. We are supposed to interrogate the response of the nominee and then as a committee make a conclusion.
That's a parliamentary position, well guided. And honorable members, again, as I said, the interest on this matter is national. It's an open session, and you can imagine if we have national frequencies and airtime, we can utilize it in doing the business that this committee needs to do. I want to proceed to the honorable member for Nandi Hills, Honorable Bernard Kitur.
Thank you very much, Chair. It so happens you've given me, I think I'm the last one to make the presentation. Allow
land
me, Chair.
This plane. land this plane. Best for last.
I want to welcome you, Stephen Motare Isaboke.
Thank you, Honorable.
To this committee. Feel free, feel comfortable. We are a very friendly committee. And of course, congratulate you as well for being nominated.
Thank you,
that now you are going through the vetting process. And also, more importantly, this committee is very keen. I think usually the chair makes an introduction and says, this is the committee of the future. And that is why we take it very seriously, where the entire nation looks up to. And this is where we superintend. And in that case, therefore, we want the nominee that is going to be able to champion this space, particularly the broadcasting and innovation. And we are very passionate, critical, and in that space, we want to look at your credentials. Do you really qualify? There's that aspect of experience you've talked about. And then also, we want to look at your history. Where have you come from? Because it can be all rosy, but sometimes we want to also look at the thorns, if any, so that we give Kenyans the best, who is going to run this very important, critical department in our country. To start off, Chair, allow me to just make a comment on a question line that the Member of Parliament from Booni, Erastus Kivasu, did take when we wanted to know the credentials, the background, your qualifications. And also one of the members of parliament here, of course, Bensouda here, had also said, you didn't come with documents that, what we have been given here are just pieces and pieces of some part of your documents. But I have your original. In fact, I was telling myself, if I run with this, I think you really have to look for me. Because all your documents are here, and they are the original.
They are.
Very well.
Yeah.
So I am really concerned, Chair, I am deeply concerned, and I want the nominee to convince me, because I have gone through. I do not see, apart from the 3 certificates, most of which were one-day training, that touches around media, around broadcasting, around mass communication. And they are all, some of them are 1999, 2011, actually there are only 3. So my fear, and I want you to convince me, apart from the rich experience that you have in the space, in terms of the technical bit, can you convince us that indeed, in very brief, can you convince us that indeed with what I've seen, are you able to run this department? In brief, very, very brief.
Thank you, through the Honorable Chair. Thank you, Honorable Kitur. I emphatically address the Honorable Committee and say that in my experience, I have my working life, which is almost 14 or so years, later part of my life, I've actually been media and technology. What actually happens? What happens to leadership? What happens? a lot of knowledge is actually applied knowledge. You do not have to go to class to qualify in a particular area to apply that knowledge. And a lot of it has actually been gained by experience. Through you, Chair, I have participated in many, many media initiatives, both in my role at work and also where I've had exposure. In the process, I've actually engaged engineers, I've engaged tech and all that as we implement. So there's a concept, Chair, called applied knowledge. And today, if you actually want to interrogate me on satellite technology, I can talk to you the A to Z, because in fact, our stuff comes from satellite. I can tell you how you host a satellite, pin the signal, receive it, that's why it's called direct to home.
Yes.
And actually then encrypt and monetize.
Thank you.
So those are things that I've actually, out of experience, picked. And knowledge is also dynamic. The qualification I had as a business admin or MPA is basically just to open the door. How I use my capacity, and there is in management a call capacity. I actually can end up selling jet engines. Some of the people that actually work for General Electric are people who did Bachelor of Arts. They're not aeronautical engineers, and they sell aircrafts across the world. So it's called applied knowledge.
All right, so comfortable enough, Chair. He has, Steve has really been able to convince us that the papers may not be there, but he's very good in the space that he's been able to operate from. Thank you. So let me move. Let me also make a...
Chair, I want to have a write down what Honorable Kituri is saying. As much as I agree with the nominee explanation, but on reality, you cannot be a doctor if you did arts. So we cannot agree in totality that you can be anything. I mean, you can go to teach as a teacher and still go and be a pilot. So the academic must be, I mean, of important when you talk about professionalism. And again, on the same, and sorry to add, apart from the certificate, that is the degree and the master's, I'm so keen to understand is CP or CE, you know, the distance and the modality today. It is another thing. I would probably wish, Bwana nominee, if you had even taken time to advance yourself, as much as you've been in multi-choice Kenya, or wherever, you would have been in a position to go to all those communication and ICT world so that you fit very well. Otherwise, in this case, you're just a marketer. Thank you.
Just hold on. Allow me to rule the following to your statement. First, it's not a point of order. That is a point of argument. And I would not want to open it up as a point of argument, because even in the space we are in, he gave an example of the terrestrial space. Right now, Engineer Nyamita will tell you the person who is big on terrestrial installations is one Elon Musk. He's very good at it. He has no single document he would produce on how he went through NASA for training. But that, again, I say is a point of argument. That's why I would not want to open it up as a discussion.
Yes,
Honorable
Chair, I would not, Chair.
It is for us as a committee to satisfy ourselves from his presentation that he is fit to hold office in the office that we are interviewing him for, and reminding ourselves also that that office requires for him to conduct many other functions beyond just the technical understanding and know-how. There is a space for leadership, a space for administration, a space for all these other policy and so on. So, Honorable Kitur, you're on the floor.
Thank you. I thought I'd put in a summary and say that I have heard. I just wanted a confirmation in terms of his qualifications, and he has spoken. So it is for us to go prosecute when we will retreat back for our report writing. Now, allow me, Chair, also to declare an interest that, Chair, apart from being in the Committee of Information and Innovation, Chair, I so happen to have been as well in the Committee of Public Investments, Social Services, Administration, and Agriculture, where in that space, Chair, we audit, and sometimes also, Chair, during the process of the audit, there are issues that come up that may require us to do investigation. And today, the nominee here has mentioned potential areas of conflict, which I think stands tall. I want to indicate, Chair, that I participated in the investigation of the MultiChoice Africa, the Go TV, MultiChoice Kenya, in regard to relationship with KBC. Chair, I have read the letter, or rather the memorandum, that was forwarded by my former chair, Emmanuel Wangwe, and I want to agree in totality in what he wrote. And for those who are here, because I was in this committee, I was part of it, where it says it's on this background that the committee submits this memorandum regarding the appointment of Mr. Stephen Isaboke, the nominee for the position of Principal Secretary, State Department of Broadcasting and Telecommunication, has been convoluted with personal commercial interest, and being a shareholder with an estimated value of 1.4 billion, the committee is of the view that the nominee will be suited to serve in other state departments to avoid conflict of interest. However, I want now to pick on the response of Mr. Isaboke, and that will be just my line of questioning. Because, as I said, I immersed myself in this space. I was in the entire interrogation phase. So what I'll be asking you is just basic questions, and I'll give you also an opportunity, sir. You can give one or two explanations, but I'm still of the opinion that as much as possible, try to reduce the, let's get to the point so that we are able to finish this on record time.
If that could apply to you too.
Chair. Well, that is the guidance of the chair. Thank you. In your response, you indicated that you raised a preliminary objection. Was this supposed to gag us as members of the committee from making a response on this? You cited the Republic versus Nairobi City Council in a case there regarding audit issues that happened between 2016 and 2017 for KBC. Is it in any way, were you trying to gag us from having the opportunity to interrogate you today?
Through the Honorable Chair, no.
Thank you. Second, we did this investigation because, one, and I've seen in your CV, around 2011, you were still in MultiChoice Kenya. Is that the case, sir?
I transited in November 2011 to become regional director. So 2011 was actually a transition year.
Thank you very much. Yeah. In the audit, one of the things that came up, and our concern actually around that time, is the fact that KBC, the audit that was done for the relationship between, for MultiChoice Kenya, was that you had made a profit of 116, no, the portion for KBC was supposed to have been given 116 million, but 96 million was paid. So one of the things we were investigating around that time was 20 million. And I'm saying this because you were actually the managing director, were you, of MultiChoice Kenya within the period of that business?
I was a managing director, but I'm unable to comment about the specific numbers because that would normally be done by finance.
Thank you. Can I ask you, is the relationship between KBC, in your view, with MultiChoice Africa, is that relationship of benefit, in your view, to KBC and Kenyans?
Through the chair, I neither work for MultiChoice Kenya nor KBC, so really constrained to make a comment in terms of their structure because those are two willing entities that have actually partnered. But I can comment for the period that I was actually a director. We did actually pass benefits to KBC, working to, over the cumulative period, almost 1.8 billion in terms of dividends paid from MultiChoice Kenya to KBC.
Thank you.
So to answer Honorable Kitur's question succinctly, your submission is that in the duration that you were at MultiChoice, KBC stood to benefit from the relationship that KBC had with MultiChoice.
Yes, I can say that, Chair.
Thank you very much. Are you aware, because you're still in multi-choice, around 2017, 2018, and 2018, 2019, there were no dividends that were paid to KBC, besides the fact that in 2014, 2015, they paid for 80 million. Are you in any case aware that there were no dividends that were paid?
So through the chair, I'm no longer in multi-choice. As I said to the committee earlier, I left in December 2020. I am unable to comment about the specific years he's referring to dividends.
I am saying that because at that time, sir, you were working for Multi-Choice Africa.
Through the chair, Multi-Choice Africa is a separate entity from Multi-Choice Kenya. I was never operationally involved.
Okay, thank you.
Honorable
Let's
members,
move
I
on.
want to call this to order so that we can protect Honorable Kitura as he's asking his questions.
Oh, all right. Yeah, thank you, sir. The next question I wanted to ask you is, were you aware of the board members of KBC and Multi-Choice Africa? How many members were there for KBC and how many were there for Multi-Choice Africa?
Through the chair, I seek clarification. Board members in which entity?
In Multi-Choice Kenya, sorry, Multi-Choice Africa and Multi-Choice and KBC in the entity that they had as Multi-Choice Kenya.
Through the chair, I do not want to second guess. That's information that can be found in the CR12 for that company.
Thank you very much. I just want to assist you. There were 2 members from KBC and there were 3 members from Multi-Choice Africa. And in that case, the chairman was always from KBC. However, KBC never had an opportunity to have representation in the management of Multi-Choice Kenya. And therefore, anytime, like in 2017, 2018, 2019, no dividends was being paid to KBC in their due right, but KBC had no way, completely sealed, from being able to see what actually, how much is this relationship making. But that notwithstanding, allow me, Chair, now to move to the next one. Sir, did you participate or in any way contribute, if at all my memory serves me right, in the making of the Kicker Bill 2009 or its regulations?
Yes, I did.
Thank you very much, sir. I'll come for you. So let me go to the next question. Again, when did you join GoTV?
So again, through the chair, I was nominated by the group to actually be one of the directors on the GoTV when it was incepted, and this is what I said. There is a period between incorporating a company where there's no activity and operational as a company. That's why I did not want to pin to a specific period. But because of my position as an executive in the group proposed me, among other colleagues, to actually sit in, because a company is run by fiduciary. So people must be appointed to actually be directors, and as one, among others. If you look at those CR12 for those periods, you'll see different people actually, among others, standing in for GoTV.
Thank you very much for that fantastic answer. Maybe also to still take you back a bit, did you say that you participated in supporting, the amendment of the Kicker Bill 2009, sir?
Very much so, I confirm.
Fantastic, thank you, sir. In one of the clauses, that is Clause 10, yeah, I think 4810, it says ownership and control. One says, no persons other than the public broadcaster shall be directly or indirectly entitled to more than one broadcast frequency or channel for radio or television broadcasting in the same coverage area, provided the Commission shall prescribe a time frame for existing stations to comply with this requirement. So, sir, you said were you aware about this, that then it is important that they were not going to allow, and also I also picked it also in your response, that you are not going to allow more than one single entity to hold shares in more than one broadcasting signal distribution?
Yes.
Thank you. And you still stand by that? You think it was a very good suggestion?
So, Chair, if I can get just to clarify, this refers to signal distribution network, and KBC already had Signet, which was a signal distribution network, and the regulation is referring to, which I'm familiar with, precludes any other entity having 2 signal distribution networks like Signet. In this case, I was aware of the Kicker Act, And in the course of negotiation with KBC, it was incumbent on KBC to draw back and say, even if you are offering us this shareholding, we're actually encumbered by regulation. It will have been KBC to respond back. And secondly, there is also cases where an operator can seek waivers. You can seek a waiver. You're relieved and allowed, by exception, to actually do. And those will be the kind of instruments, typically, because people pay to find solutions where KBC will have approached to actually be allowed. I'm just answering back.
Yeah. So, Chair, in 2012, that is when our nominee got the opportunity to work for GoTV. They engaged KBC, knowing very well that they were not able to actually sign that partnership.
Tasty breakfast just for you. Enjoy.
How special is this Dan of yours?
Niaje mother, nilijua kuna something fishy na happen hapa.
Nini na mimi sijui?
Nikupindi. Hizi mapepa zote, kanairo yote.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Nilikuachia hii kazi ukaanza kuichezea.
Can we talk privately? What's wrong? Somebody's dead. I know, people died.
Jua hii damu itakuwa kwa mikono yetu.
Wacha waende wamtupe huko kwa bahari.
Morning, madam.
Biblia inasema an eye for an eye. Hakuna mtu atajua amekufa.
Who is dead?
Hello, nataka kuongea